Saturday Summoner League, I thought I would go through and try to finish up some of these other pre-constructed decks because that is the decks that we'll be playing in Saturday Summoner League. So we'll start with this Holoclone deck. And so Holoclone, first skill, Holoclone summons a rank infinite clone creature, and this deck revolves around clones and the cloning ability. And so trying to basically get a clone out and also clone that clone and get more. So for example, if I tilt Holoclone here and use Holoclone's first skill, then it'll summon this rank infinite clone creature. As soon as this rank infinite clone creature comes into play, it has the cloning ability. So I would tilt Holoclone here. I would bring in this rank infinite basic clone, and if I wanted to, I could go ahead and use its ability for free and flip a coin. And if I flip the coin, in this case, what happens? It fails, so the clone is destroyed. All right, but let's say that I flip it. I'll just keep flipping it until I get a success here. So I'll try again. All right, so we got a success. So if that happened, then I would clone another basic clone. And then if I wanted to, on that clone, you can only use one action per turn. So I could only have flipped that coin once for this card. If it failed, then it would have died. But if this one came in, I could say, hey, I want to try again. And so look at that. Another one comes in, and I make another clone, and so on and so forth. So basically, you're deciding each time whether or not you want to try to bring another clone into play with that cloning ability. Every time a clone dies, because it's a rank infinite invocation, then I gain 1 ether, because every time an invocation of rank infinite is destroyed, it adds 1 to the ether. If I get 3 ether charges, then I can exchange that to draw 1 card or to get 1 coin. So that's another nice synergy that happens there. Going back to Holoclone, I'll untilt him here. Second skill, Holoclone brings a clone creature from the graveyard and puts it directly onto your battlefield. So the rank infinite hollow creatures will go to the ether, so this wouldn't apply to them, but it's going to apply for all of our other clones that we got up here that we want to potentially bring back into play from the graveyard. So it's got some resiliency in the deck. Then if I place, the third skill, Holoclone can place a charge. You can place a charge on Holoclone. You can do this up to 3 times. If I use this skill, then for each charge that I have on Holoclone, then all of my clone type creatures will get a +1/+1 charge. So up to a +3/+3 if you were to use this skill 3 times over the game. For the fourth skill, during this turn, Holoclone gives clone type and cloning ability to all your creatures on the battlefield. And so all of that cloning that I was trying to do here with basic clone, if you had this in play and no matter what creature you have in play, if you use Holoclone's fourth skill, all your creatures become clones, and so you could effectively clone every single creature that you have out on the battlefield. Jump over to Olaf and Olia. Olaf's first skill. Olaf steals 1 coin from a target opponent and gives it to you, and Olaf and Olia lose 1 health point. So this is really important. A lot of times when somebody, you see they've got something they're setting up on the board and they just want to add they need 1 coin to do some action that's going to be really hurtful to you. And so you just remove that coin so that they're unable to do that action on you during that turn. Also, it adds a coin to your stock. The next skill, Olaf and Olia each give you 1, so this is a quick way to get up your coins into your stock, so you'll get 2 coins added to your stock. And then the third skill is Olia allows you to reactivate an action on one of your constant cards, and the action is free. So it doesn't matter how much the action costs. So for example, down here on Hourglass, it costs 3 coins to add a charge to the incantation. And so you could use Olaf and Olia's third skill to be able to do that action for free. So that's a great skill that Olaf and Olia has. Got the standard kind of level ups up here. We've got 5 basic level ups. We have 2 of the rank 4 level ups, which give you 1 coin when after they level up your summoner. You've got 1 rank 2 level up, which gives you 3 health points after it levels up your summoner. And you've got 1 rank 3 level up, which allows you to draw a card. And then the most important one here, the rank 1 level up, it can be played after using your summoners, and then you're going to untilt your summoners and then and give them a level up, and then you get to use them all over again in the same turn. We'll go through the clones now. So we got Clone General. So Clone General's got distance and reach. So the distance is good for attacking. Only creatures that have reach or distance can block creatures that have distance. And then reach allows it to block effectively every creature that's out there. Reach is a very strong defensive capability. Then on the action, if you flip a coin, you get a success. Clone General can transform 3 rank infinite clones into a rank infinite 5/5 clone creature with Horde. And so Horde is the ability to block more than one creature. Typically in attack, you can only block one creature, but if you had produced 3 rank infinite clone creatures, then over here with using Holoclone's ability, you can transform them. They don't die, they just merge together and they create a 5/5 clone creature that has Horde ability. Then we'll go to the next clone creature here. It's a Clone Sergeant, has reach, so a great defender for 2 coins, and flipping a coin, if you get a success, then the Clone Sergeant will get splash during the turn. And so splash damage will, so this one does 3 damage here without any modifiers. And so if you did damage to a creature, you'd be able to allot 3 more damage to another creature nearby. Next clone is the Clone Bomber. Clone Bomber's got flying. If you pay 1 coin and you flip a coin, you get a success. Targeted clone creature you control dies. You're effectively sacrificing a creature in an explosion, and it'll cause 3 damage to target opponent's creature. Go up to Clone Morpher. Clone Morpher becomes a copy of a clone creature under your control, and for 2 ether charges, you can change the form of Clone Morpher to another of the same type. We've got Polymorph. Polymorph can copy any creature on the battlefield, and it becomes a copy of it. For 2 ether charges, you can change the form of Polymorph, and this is one of the legendary cards in this deck. Got a rank 3 morpher, so rank 3 morpher can clone any or a copy, excuse me, morph into any other creature that's a rank 3 creature, and then for 2 ether charges you can change the shape for from the rank 3. And I believe, see, that's a rank 2, so you've got this Clone Sergeant, you've got the Clone Bomber that's rank 3, and I believe that may be it. Yeah, that's on the battlefield. Then you've got Miel. Miel is a rank 1 imminent, which means that it can be played. This is a creature that can be played on your opponent's turn. It's a flying creature with immunity. This is good against like Alior Dagnus, who puts diseases on things. And so Miel's a good creature to have in the play to not be able to be targeted by disease, and also a flyer, so can help to be effective on the attack. Additionally, Miel's got pay 1 coin, flip a coin. If you have a success, then during your turn you can bounce a target card in play and return it to its owner's hand. And so it can be any constant card that's in play. It doesn't have to be a creature. If you've got something that's giving you a hard time, you can return it to your owner's hand. And so things like you got spellcaster cards and things out there that make it where you can't play card. You could return that spellcaster card back to its owner's hand, and then you're able to be unaffected by that spellcaster card. That's just an example. You also have Chronos down here. Chronos, you pay 1 coin, you flip a coin, and if you get a success, you can bounce the last card that performed an action and return it to its owner's hand. And if you fail, all your opponents discard a card. And Chronos also has flying. Chronos has distance, so it's hard to block Chronos. And additionally, Chronos is a 3/3 creature. So great all around utility card here. Then you've got Cutest Kitty. Cutest Kitty also has immunity, so can't be affected by diseases. Cutest Kitty cannot be blocked by a creature. If the Cutest Kitty dies, all opposing summoners lose 2 health points. If it is killed by a creature, then that creature dies of grief, and it's a 1/3 creature. You've got Ultra Laser Unicorn, it's a rank 2 creature, and Ultra Laser Unicorn has Reach. Ultra Laser also has Pierce, which is like a trample ability or rollover damage. So for every damage that the opposing blocker cannot absorb, it rolls over onto. It has to be attributed to a summoner. And then Ultra Laser Unicorn also has Distance, and so it's hard to block as well. You, if you pay 1 coin and you flip a coin, you get a success, then you can do 2 damage points to target opponent's creature or door. Speaking of doors, we will push now over to the 2 doors that you have in this deck. So the first one is Portal. And so Portal cannot block. It comes into play open, and closing it makes it inactive. And if you pay 1 coin, you have a success. One of your attacking creatures passes through the portal to directly hit a targeted opponent. And Portal is also a 0/3. So this is good for making some big creature that you have unblockable. And so this pairs well with the Sword of Destiny. So if you've got a creature that has the Sword of Destiny on it, for every um, constant card that you have under your control, other than the Sword of Destiny and any of your Rank Infinite cards, so any Rank Infinite clones or anything like that that you might have in play, don't count towards this. But every other constant you have in play, that creature gets a +X/+X. So you equip this to a creature, and then you could run that creature through Portal and do a lot of damage to your opponent. Or you could put this on Cutest Kitty, which cannot be blocked, and you can do a lot of damage. All right, we'll push it to the second door here. This door is a good blocker, and so uh, this door can only block ground creatures, and this door comes into play open for 2 coins. The decoy door distracts the target attacking creature. The creature will not do any damage and cannot activate its actions this turn. So this is a good defensive type door, and it's a 1/1 door, rank 1. Going up here to our our next incantation, it's a rank 2 incantation, Blast Core Factory. So the Blast Core Factory generates a rank infinite clone creature when it arrives on the battlefield and at the beginning of each cycle. For 2 coins, you can generate a rank infinite clone, which is this right here. For 3 coins, you can generate a rank 3 bomber, which is a 2/2 creature. And then for 4 coins, you can generate this clone sergeant over here, this 3/1 creature. So this, in addition with the hollow clone, is a good way to help build out your clone population. Then you have a rank 2 incantation clone army. For 2 and a success, you generate 2 rank infinite clone creatures. For 4 charges, you can start a cloning phase for all your creatures that have the cloning ability during an opponent's turn. And then we go down to clone training. All clone creatures under your control gain +1/+1. So it's a good way to boost them in addition to hollow clones boost. For 1 coin and flip and a success, all your clone creatures will gain reach, effectively they're calling it range, but the ability to block both flying and distance creatures. Destructor, that's a together card, which means you'll have to tilt both summoners and pay 1 capacity from each summoner to play it. But when the destroyer arrives on the battlefield, or destructor arrives on the battlefield, all this text is being worked through right now and will be corrected before Kickstarter fulfillment. But the destructor arrives on the battlefield, you can destroy target constant card under each opponent's control. For 1 coin and a coin flip for success, you destroy target constant card. And on a fail, all constant cards in play are destroyed, including the destroyer. So if you get to reset the board, then you can do that. And because you got hollow clone, you can easily start repopulating the board with clone creatures and then flip for those clones to get them going again. At your service, if you control a creature named Clone General, all your clone creatures have advantage. So here's the Clone General over here. So if this is in play and this is in play, then when you attack, you get to decide if the opponent is going to block, which creatures may block, and who's going to be attacking who. Normally the defender decides how the attacks pair up, but in this case, if you have advantage, then you get to decide. And then for 1 coin and a flip of the coin for a success, you can evolve a rank infinite clone from here into a clone sergeant, rank 3 clone sergeant. Okay, and then jumping down, we already talked about the Sword of Destiny. So we'll talk about money training. Money training is a rank 3 incantation. The activation costs of your actions are reduced by 1 coin. Money training cannot make an activation free. If it costs only 1, it remains at 1. You can flip if you get a success. During your turn, the activation cost of an opponent's actions cost an additional 1. So it's this plus Olaf and Olia's third skill, or excuse me, first skill, make it where you can make it hard for an opponent to be able to use their actions. And then for Hourglass, another together card, so you have to use 2 summoners and a capacity point from each summoner. This incantation comes into play with 3 charges on it. The Hourglass allows you to spend a charge at any time to summon an additional card for your hand. So effectively, it allows you to play 3. As soon as you bring it into play, you can play 3 additional invocations whenever you want, as long as you're applying the normal rules of invoking. So for example, you could bring in more constant cards on your turn, or you could play Imminence at any time. And you can do, and then if you want to charge it, you can pay 3 coins to add a charge, or like we talked about before, you can use Olaf and Olia's third skill to add a charge without paying the 3 coin for it. We'll jump over to the first imminent here. So this is the Mask of Darkness. Your summoners take no direct damage this turn. You add 1 coin to your stock and you draw a card. So a lot of benefit from just playing this card. For treasure here, you add 3 charges of ether to your ether and 3 coins to your stock. This is probably the most powerful card in this deck if you play it at the right time. This is the Blast Corporation. So Blast Corporation gives cloning to all the clones. So it basically clones all the clones present on your battlefield. You're duplicating everything. So the real power, if you can play this card middle game, is you use Holoclone here, and Holoclone, the 4th skill, gives clone type and clone ability to all your creatures on the battlefield. So even if you had Rainbow Unicorn, Kronos, Polymorph, Miel, doesn't matter. He got out on the battlefield. Holoclone's 4th skill will make them a clone type, and then you play Blast Corporation, and then it's going to duplicate everything on the battlefield. And then if you've got Badass Clone here on the battlefield, you pay 3 coins, and Badass Clone's going to get a +1/+1 charge for each clone. So you can see how this can become exponentially powerful from just this 1 card and just a few combinations of skills in this card. So probably not a great card at the beginning of the game, but once you get a few cards on the battlefield that are clones, or you can make them clones with this skill, whole clone skill, then this card is very, very powerful. Okay, rank 4 imminent common rest. During this turn, you can untilt all your creatures after the attack phase. You pay 1 coin, you flip a coin success, then all your clone creatures will gain a +1/+1 charge until the end of turn or during this turn. Clone power, you pay 1, flip a coin, you can give a +2/+2 charge to one of your clones this turn. It's a cumulative effect, which means that you can continue to add +2/+2 charges if you're able to replay that action. The next one here, you pay 1 coin, you can give a +1/+1 charge to all your clones during this turn. It's a non-cumulative effect, so even if you were able to replay this action, because it is a rank 3 imminent, so you might have multiples of them in your hand. You won't in this deck, but if you were to build your own deck, you might have multiples. This is saying that you can only use this +1/+1 charge to all your turn clones during this turn. You can only do that once per card, and so you can't do that multiple times. Life cycle, success, your summoners gain, for a flip and a success, your summoners gain 1 health point for each clone creature in your graveyard, and if you fail, you have to discard a card of your choice. Obligation, rank 3 imminent. If you pay 2 coins, well, number one, it's multi-target, so you can do this multiple times, depending on which action that you're trying to use. So if you pay 2 coins, you can force target creature to attack or defend against another target creature. And if you the next one is if you pay 2 coins, you can force the activation of target action. So the controller of the action must still pay its activation cost. And then for the third one, you can force a new use of the basic effect of the targeted card. So if something comes in, it has a basic effect, like it's going to trigger something when it comes into play, like destroy target creature or something like that. You can force a new use of the basic effect of the target card. For this one, die and retry, it's a rank 3 imminent. You can invoke this card only when a creature dies. Target creature that just died returns to play on the summoner's battlefield, and then your next action will automatically be considered a fail. So you could play die and retry, and then you could use Chronos to make your opponents discard a card. This is a Golden Mirror Imminent rank 3. You can cancel the target action activated by an opponent, then use the action's result as if you own it. Then you pay 1 coin, flip a coin. If you have a success, the Golden Mirror returns to the top of your library. Mirror of Ugliness. The target attacking monster takes its own damage. You pay 1 coin, you flip a coin. If you have a success, the Mirror of Ugliness returns to the top of your library. Blind, this is another good one for this deck because of this action, but we'll talk about the first part here. It says all creatures have a -1/-1 charge this turn. So this is something you would play middle game after you have boosted all of your clones using Holoclone's third skill there to give it at least 1+1/+1 charge, because blind will kill them if for just the 1/1 creatures if you don't have them boosted by at least one. But then you play blind, and it'll give all creatures -1/-1. So if your opponent just has 1/1s, it'll destroy all their creatures. And then the next thing is you flip a coin. If you have a success, no opposing creature can defend this turn. So this could be a game-winning card right here, pretty easily if you're able to destroy your opponent's creatures, or if you're able to make it where they can't block you when you're attacking with all your clones. Return, this is a strong one because it's multi-target. So let's say your opponent has either like used Alior or Dagnus to try to grab your creatures with madness or something like that, with disease, or if they have a bunch of big creatures or doors or things that are causing you problems and you need to remove them during this turn while you're trying to do something, then you can, for every 2 coins you play, you can return a target constant card to its owner's hand. And this is another one of your legendary cards in this deck. Growth Prophecy. So Growth Prophecy gives all your creatures and doors on the battlefield will permanently gain reach or range, which means they can block anything. And then the last one here is the Prophecy of Injustice. And so you can attack your opponents, or they can attack you with a bunch of creatures you block. A lot of your stuff dies, and none of their stuff dies. Then you play this card at the end, and it just reverses all the outcomes, and all of their stuff will die, and yours comes back to the battlefield. So again, the big thing here, to sum it up, is that this card is all about, or this deck is all about, creating a bunch of clones, trying to find an opportunity to make it to where they're unblockable, either using the creatures that are unblockable or using a spell that makes them unblockable, or just stacking up a lot of clones on the battlefield and then having overpowering size with, say, Sword of Destiny or Badass Clone, and then getting to Hollow Clone's fourth skill, which turns everything into a clone, and then dropping a Blast Corporation, and then duplicating every creature that you have on the battlefield. And that's the sum up. Hope to see you in Saturday Summoner League. Get out there and build a guild. Have a great day.